Chapter 81. You are listening at novelfull.audio. If you hit a snake 7 inches, you have to tear off its wings to kill a vampire. Roar! Lilith screamed in agony, and all 24 wings were torn off. This scene made Fang Qingyan's mouth twitch, and he felt an inexplicable chill on his back. Lilith's vitality and blood dropped to the extreme, and she could only rely on the law of blood to hold on. Die to this emperor. The ghost emperor let out a furious roar that shook the sky. The sea of Shura behind him was extremely vast. He concentrated the strongest attack and struck down with a claw. The law of Shura roared out and wreaked havoc. Rumble, under this claw, Lilith's body turned into powder, and the sea of blood returned to nothingness. He wanted to use the remaining energy and blood to reshape his body. However, the 5 emperors directly bombarded him with laws, annihilating his remaining energy and blood. Buzz! In an instant, countless rays of extremely bright light fell from the sky, as if there was a light rain. Why are you still standing there? This is the reign of law without attributes, which can enhance the power of any kind of law. The ghost emperor turned his head and shouted loudly at Fang Qingyan and a group of Dharma well realms. The reign of laws will only last for 3 minutes. How much you can absorb depends on your ability. After 3 minutes, the Shikigami will be resurrected, and their strength will be greatly improved. After absorbing after the reign of law, I will take you away. What? Can Shikigami be resurrected indefinitely? Will he become stronger after resurrection? Fang Qingyan was stunned, but he quickly reacted and teleported directly into the light rain, bath in the rain of attributeless laws. Buzz! In an instant, dense raindrops flew over and poured into Fang Qingyan's mind, pouring crazily into the law well. With a bang, Fang Qingyan's body trembled, and a click sounded in his mind, and the law well cracked open and expanded. Then, a pool with a diameter of several hundred meters opened up. Crash! The laws of time and space poured in, countless rainwater poured into the pool, and the water level slowly rose. Sudden, there was a bang sound, a dark red broken stove jumped out, and the lid opened automatically, absorbing the rain of laws crazily. Really, no matter what you do, eating comes first. The weapon-raising furnace seems to be saying, although I haven't done anything, I still want to share. P.S. The 4th update, a chapter of nearly 4,000 words, please support me. Forced, Chapter 97. Crash, the rain gathered into streams, like gurgling streams one after another, flowing into the law pond from all directions. The water level is rising little by little. Every drop of pool water is formed by laws. Fang Qingyan felt more refreshed than ever before. After joining the Twilight Hermits this time, he not only had the opportunity to observe a high-level battle, but also had the opportunity to share the spoils. The rain of laws is pouring down. Everyone was bathing in the rain, absorbing the power of the law to their heart's content, including the 5 emperors, except the ghost emperor. This invincible strong man looked up at this beautiful light rain, the will-o'-the-wisps in his eyes swaying slightly, as if melancholy was rising in his heart. Over the course of more than 2 epochs, these Shikigami have eaten countless Saint 9 realms. They absorbed the life energy of the powerful people in the Holy Realm, and then transformed it into the source of law without attributes, accumulated and stored it. When the era of the Holy Meteor comes, the Creator will come to take away his harvest, just like an old farmer who sows in spring and harvests in autumn, ruthlessly cutting away the mature leeks in the field with a sickle, and then destroying everything and creating everything like a farmer plowing the land. Sow a new round of seeds and continue to wait for the next harvest season. And the god-killers of the Twilight Hermits are in the business of robbery. As the saying goes, a man is not rich without windfall, and a horse is not fat without night grass. There was no hope of breaking the Dharma well through cultivation, so I began to focus on competing for food with the Creator. It can be said that he is disrespectful and audacious. No wonder the ordeal of initiation tests your will and courage. I don't care about your strength at all, because as long as you join the club, there will be big guys who will help you become stronger. 3 minutes every second was as satisfying as ever, and everyone tried their best to absorb the rain of laws. The Ghost Emperor's sea of Dharma has long been overflowing and he has reached the pinnacle of law cultivation. These rains of laws are useless to him. He already stands at the pinnacle of combat power in this world. However, we are still as far away from the Creator as an ant under a big tree. How easy is it for ants to shake a tree? But the three emperors all firmly believe that sooner or later, the Twilight Hermits will be able to wait for a genius who breaks the rules, set foot in the unknown territory above the Sea of Fa, and then lead the ants to uproot the big tree. The will-o'-the-wisp flickered in the Ghost Emperor's eyes, 3 minutes, gone in the blink of an eye. He has awakened again, and I will take you away. An old and hoarse voice rang in his ears. Everyone showed regretful expressions. After a high-level battle, they only had 3 minutes of enjoyment time after victory. Fang Qingyan opened and closed his eyes, the black law of space in his left eye was faintly jumping, and the white law of time in his right eye was slowly surging. Well, pond, lake, sea, he has already broken through to the second realm of law and opened up a law pool. In the pool, the laws of time and space filled 1/3 of the pool. After 1 or 2 more such light rains of law, he can step into the realm of Dharma Lake. The color of the weapon furnace has changed from red to purple. Fang Qingyan had already faintly felt that it seemed to have undergone some mysterious changes, but now was not the time to study the stove, so he reached out and put it in his backpack. Buzz. An extremely terrifying pressure emerged. In the void, the resurrected Shikigami Lilith stepped out with 1 foot. However, the Ghost Emperor just glanced at him coldly, waved his right hand, and the Shura law tore apart the other world, and he disappeared with everyone in place. The Shikigami didn't come after him. Everyone, please disperse. Li Wangxing will lead the team next time, and I will leave first. Ghost Emperor Gudula said in a hoarse voice. In every hunting, the 3 emperors take turns leading the team. With the boss of Fahai in charge, the team's safety can be guaranteed. Everyone saluted. Best farewell to the Ghost Emperor. After finishing the copy, everyone dispersed without even talking to each other. Only Caroline, the unrivaled Feng Huang, showed a charming smile and playfully asked Fang Qingyan, "How was it? Did I look handsome in the fight just now?" Fang Qingyan was speechless and could only shake his head and said, "Everyone is watching the Ghost Emperor show his power, and I don't pay much attention to you." Caroline's beautiful eyes widened. She put her hands on her hips and showed off her manly attitude. "Next time we fight, only look at me, you are mine." Fang Qingyan shrugged his shoulders and showed a helpless smile. Then he remembered something and asked Caroline, "Why don't you care about how much my law has been improved? You didn't ask me what law I practiced." "TCH, what's there to ask?" Caroline waved her little hand indifferently and said in a lazy voice, "Everyone has their own secrets. Our Twilight Hermits Club has a small number of people and the management is so loose. No one will force you to do anything. And, you don't break through to the Dharma Lake realm, and no one will be interested in you." Point 1 sentence summary. Those are the little scumbags from Fajing and Fachi. They are at the bottom of this group of 30 people and have no sense of existence. Just like in a class, those at the bottom of the class will be ignored. If you want to gain status, you have to climb up. Even if you died suddenly, no one would ask a question. Identity and status belong to the big guys. All you have to do is shout 666. This result left Fang Qingyan speechless for a while. If Caroline and the others knew that he was under 100 years old and had only bathed in the rain of law once before opening a law pool, then everyone's eyes would probably fall off. Within the Twilight Hermits, there are several Dharma well realms with millions of years of age. They have bathed in the principal rain 2 or 3 times, but have not opened up a principal pool. Once Fang Qingyan's astonishing advancement speed is made public, he will definitely be trained by the Twilight Hermit Society. But since no one is interested in him, there is no need for Fang Qingyan to show off, be low-key. Endless sea, floating island. Owner. Petsha ran over happily, holding Fang Qingyan's big hand, her beautiful eyes shining with light. "How was your fight? Is the battle fierce?" Fang Qingyan was silent for a second before saying depressedly, "The battle is quite fierce. But unfortunately he was not qualified to participate. The excitement belongs to others. I own nothing." No, if this continues, when Petsha goes out hunting with him, Fang Qingyan's tall image as a master will collapse. The big guys fought vigorously. Chapter 82. You are listening at novelfull.audio. He and Petsha's master and servant were huddled in the corner and shivering. Then the conversation goes like this: Petsia, master, I'm afraid, I want to hide behind you. Fang Qingyan, I'm afraid too. Well, so we must quickly become stronger. Break the Dharma pool, open up the Dharma lake, and even the Dharma sea. To become an invincible one like the three emperors. Fang Qingyan said goodbye to Caroline, went back with Pet Sha. Pet Sha is still only in the first realm of Saint, but it knows everything it needs to know. It only takes a few years of silent cultivation to break through the second realm of Saint and practice the laws, returned to Nicola and perished. Elizabeth was very pleasantly surprised, and her beautiful little face was filled with a happy smile, because Fang Qingyan had been away for less than a day this time. After the two of them got tired of each other for a while, Fang Qingyan felt that his realm was becoming restless again. So he forced out 50 drops of essence and blood at once, causing the energy and blood to become extremely depressed. After giving the essence and blood to Elizabeth, he entered the underground palace and continued to retreat, waiting for the next round of hunting to begin. However, he still took out the weapon-raising furnace first. This broken furnace has now turned into a shining purple light, which is extraordinary. It is no longer the dark and ugly ghost it used to be. Bang! That the soldier-raising stove shook, and then walked up to Fang Qingyan on 3 legs. He raised the lid very proactively, waiting for feeding. Fang Qingyan's mouth twitched, kicked it away, and cursed. Didn't I just give you something to eat in the morning? This foodie, it has changed so many colors, it is not mature yet. Every time it changed color, Fang Qingyan was filled with anticipation, thinking that a magic weapon was about to be born, but in the end it turned into deep disappointment. If it hadn't been given such a high rating by the system as a treasure from the divine world, Fang Qingyan would have thrown it away long ago. Signing in will only give you a surplus law fragment, which can be used to feed the furnace, just 1 meal a day, not much more. Come here and let me check it out. Fang Qingyan waved to the soldier-raising furnace. It ran over and stood still. Fang Qingyan's eyes narrowed, and there seemed to be a vague mark on the furnace body of the weapon-raising furnace. He looked closer and couldn't see clearly. Then put your ears on its belly and let go of your mental strength to feel it with your heart. Boom, boom, boom. A strange sound, like a heartbeat, was emitted in the furnace, and the sound was extremely subtle. Fang Qingyan blinked, and then his expression showed surprise. Is this, pregnant? It seems that I can't kick it casually in the future. If the fetal air moves, the gain outweighs the loss. Just get pregnant. What Fang Qingyan is most afraid of is that his stomach has been silent. He showed what he thought was a kind smile, touched Yang Binglu's belly, and said softly, I didn't kick you just now, did I? Be good. I won't kick you again. That when Yang Binglu saw Fang Qingyan smile, he immediately shuddered and shivered. A series of goosebumps appeared on the furnace's body. It seemed to want to say, you should continue to kick me. Your sudden gentleness made me very sad. Not used to it. P.S. The 5th update is here, please support. Please order in full. Beg on your knees. Chapter 98. The days passed by practicing and checking in day after day. There is almost no so-called management in the Twilight Hermits. When no business comes to your door, all your time is free. Nicola's country was destroyed and the Cape clan was destroyed. In the underground palace, in a secret room, Fang Qingyan is meditating with his eyes closed at the moment, but it is not a practice rule, but simply guarding his mind and suppressing his realm. Recently, state agitation has become more and more frequent. As long as you don't pay attention, you will go up. The last hunt for the Shikigami Lilith, Fang Qingyan saw that there were 24 holy wings on his back. Lilith is the ancestor of the vampire clan. In other words, if he continues to cultivate chi and blood as before, he can evolve to his final form and grow 24 holy wings. However, the road of chi and blood cannot be taken. At the end of this road is the Creator's man. Eating mouth. People who don't know the truth will continue to practice step by step, and eventually break through the 9 heavens and be eaten by Shikigami. Only those who truly understand know the principle of 3,000 avenues, and the law is respected. Crash. 2 buckets of water were poured into the pool, and the water level barely changed. Fang Qingyan sighed. After advancing to the Dharma well, the improvement of 2 barrels of water per day was no longer enough for him. If you continue to break through, the rewards from the system will increase. So, we still have to hunt Shikigami. The Twilight Hermits basically have information about most of the holy places in the world. If business comes, Caroline will definitely notify Fang Qingyan again. 26. Fang Qingyan bleeds every day. As long as he felt that the chi and blood were out of the sluggish stage, he would directly force out the essence and blood and let them slump again, without any hesitation. So much so that the members of the Cape clan can continuously obtain the prince's essence and blood, which was something they could not even imagine before. Time passed slowly in boring waiting. In the blink of an eye, 40 years have passed. 40 years seem like a lifetime ago. During this period, the blood jade on his waist still did not light up. Several good things happened. First, Elizabeth, irrigated by the blood of countless princes, finally broke through to the Duke of 10 Wings. She became one of the real top combat forces of the Capet clan. Also, Duke Dracula broke through the Saint Realm. Including Petcha's words, the Capet clan already has 3 Saint Realm powerhouses. The second day after he arrived in the Saint Realm, Fang Qingyan called Duke Dracula to the secret room, and then told the secret of him. He finally knew the truth about the fall of Prince Dracula. He cried bitterly at that time. Fang Qingyan asked him to choose whether to stay in the Saint Realm safely and protect the Capet clan, or break through the Saint Realm too, practice the law, and embark on a fateful battle with him. Dracula chose the latter without hesitation. He had served the old prince for more than 1,000,000 years and had a deep affection for him. In the end, he expressed his desire to join the Dusk Hermits and fight against the gods together. Fang Qingyan respected his choice, decided to take Dracula to Caroline for the entrance test next time he went hunting, and there was Petcha. She had been in seclusion for 40 years and finally opened up the well of law. She was so happy, because this meant that she could go hunting with her master next time. That day, the moon was high in the sky and the night was like water. Buzz. There was a vibration sound from the waist and the red light was bright. Fang Qingyan, who was in seclusion, suddenly opened his eyes and shot out a blazing brilliance. Hunting time is finally here. The Queen's bedroom. Just like before, you have to come back early. I will always wait for you at home. Elizabeth kindly tidied Fang Qingyan's clothes. Her beautiful blue eyes were full of love, her voice was pleasant and extremely gentle. Fang Qingyan nodded and said seriously, I'll be back soon. Yeah, go ahead. Elizabeth smiled sweetly and gently stroked his face with her bare hands. Take care. After 40 years of living together day and night, the two were inseparable. She had once fantasized about her love, but the reality was even better than fantasy. Chapter 83. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Endless sea, floating islands, the space shook like ripples, twisting for a while. A handsome man, a stunning lady, and an old man in black, all 3 people came out of the void. On top of the cliff ahead, Caroline, who was wearing a blue and white palace dress, had a graceful figure and stood proudly on top with her hands behind her hands, leaving the world with an unparalleled beauty. Haven't seen you for a long time. Caroline turned her head and looked at Fang Qingyan with a playful look on her beautiful face. Have you missed me? Fang Qingyan nodded, knowing that she had a straightforward personality, so he immediately said bluntly, I really want to. I have been waiting for this hunting for 40 years. Caroline rolled her eyes beautifully and said dissatisfied, You're not thinking of me, you're thinking of the Shikigami, right? Hey, Petcha, come and give your sister a hug. She stared at Petcha with bright eyes. Patricia swooped behind Fang Qingyan and shook his head to express his rejection. She has already opened the law well. Can I take her with me this time? Fang Qingyan looked at Caroline and asked. Caroline nodded without thinking. Of course, the leader this time is the human race martial emperor, sword god Li Wangsheng. You don't have to worry about safety, no one has died in any hunting led by Li Wangsheng. Never made a mistake. Is it so stable? Fang Qingyan had a puzzled look on his face and asked her puzzledly, The 3 emperors are all powerful men with overflowing seas of law. Is there any difference in strength? Caroline nodded seriously and said solemnly, You remember, although it is said that 3,000 avenues are governed by laws, the laws do not represent everything. Li Wangsheng is called the sword god. He is not only a Fahai is a powerful man, he is also the supreme swordsman. His sword is unstoppable in the world. Can the Fox Emperor and Ghost Emperor not be able to stop them? They haven't fought before, how do I know? Caroline shrugged, but the person who said, his sword is unstoppable in the world, is the Ghost Emperor. And Li Wangsheng also. When I evaluated the Ghost Emperor, the original words were, he is a Shura walking in the world. Hey, You don't understand even after saying so much. You just need to know that the three emperors have never taken action with all their strength. Fang Qingyan was speechless. Is this just business bragging between big guys? When can we join in this mutual bragging? By the way, I'll bring one person to participate in the membership test. Fang Qingyan introduced Dracula to Caroline. Caroline didn't do any ink, and directly threw out the land of fear. Put your hands up and hold on for 3 minutes. Dracula takes the crystal ball. Suddenly, the old guy was sweating, his expression was twisted, his eyebrows were wrinkled, and his hands were shaking, but he still gritted his teeth, forced himself to endure, and restrained the boiling fear in his heart. The land of fear was actually a torture instrument designed to torture the Holy Realm. Finally, Dracula made it to the last second. His face was pale and his head was covered in cold sweat, and he almost couldn't make it through. Fear is human. Fang Qingyan also felt extraordinary fear at that time, but as long as the will is strong enough, no matter how great the fear is, he can overcome it. Congratulations on passing the test. Caroline waved her hand and threw a blood jade sign to Dracula. After you open the well of law, you can come here again. Thank you, Lord Wind Emperor. Dracula bowed very politely, then the jump space disappeared, and he had to go back and continue to take charge of the family. Let's go. Caroline turned to Qingyan and Pet Shah and raised her eyebrows. Who is the target this time? Demon Clan, an old demon king at the peak of the 8th Holy Realm. He is dying. Upon hearing this, Fang Qingyan's expression suddenly became weird. This is still an acquaintance. Demon Clan, the reconstructed city of Sardinston. Lucifer, do you know why this emperor came to you? That the old demon king had no expression on his face, looking calmly at the handsome man in front of him. Lucifer shook his head, and in front of his ancestors, he put away a little bit of his arrogance. You are our demon clan's most promising person to enter the Holy Realm. The old demon emperor's voice became inexplicably low and depressed. Today, my emperor's deadline is approaching, and I will use my last remaining strength to help you become a saint. Lucifer frowned. The end is coming. Isn't the demon emperor immortal? Who wants to kill you? The secret behind this can only be known after you enter the Holy Realm. The old demon king shook his head, his voice hoarse. If he becomes your inner demon, you may not be able to enter the Holy Realm. Why should I be afraid of mere inner demons? Nothing in the world can make me bow down, retreat, or be timid. Lucifer put his hands behind his back and said proudly, tell me who came to kill you, and I will avenge you. Alas! The old demon king sighed faintly. Stop talking nonsense. I can't suppress my state anymore. Please extend your hand over here. In the sky, more than 20 people stood silently, looking down at what was happening below. Spiritual Emperor, I remember this is your biological brother, right? Caroline blinked and looked to the side at the demonic lake realm. The Spiritual Emperor, the Spirit Emperor nodded, his eyes were cold, and his voice was ruthless. I invited him to join the Twilight Hermits, but he refused and called me a lunatic. We have broken off our friendship long ago. Fang Qingyan listened to their conversation. I couldn't help but sigh in my heart. The people in the Dusk Hermit Society had an unwavering belief in killing gods. For the sake of their beliefs, they could give up family, love, and friendship without hesitation. This hunt was the same as the last one. The King of Law, the King of Wind, the King of Death, the King of the Sea, and the King of Spirit. The 5 kings arrived, each with a few wells and ponds that needed to be cultivated, and a few lakes, but they were not full yet. Only when the lake was full could one be called an emperor. Only when the Sea of Law was full could one be called an emperor. Swish! Suddenly, a brilliant sword light appeared. The speed of the sword light was so fast that even the Lake of Law couldn't react, and it had already arrived in front of everyone. Only then did I realize that it was not a sword, but a person, an old Taoist priest with white hair and beard. He had an old face and wrinkled skin. He wore a washed and starched linen Taoist robe, a Haran scarf on his forehead, a 5 mountains crown on his head, 10 square shoes on his feet, and a narrow sword of dead wood on his back. Simple, ordinary, as if integrated with the surrounding environment. It is easy for people to ignore this person's existence. Unlike the murderous and powerful ghost emperor when he appeared, this old Taoist priest does not look like a strong man. However, After he appeared, everyone saluted respectfully and shouted respectfully, "We, meet the martial emperor," that the martial emperor of the human race, the sword god Li Wangxing, chapter 99. Li Wangxing is like an octogenarian who is about to die, but everyone present showed a respectful look on their faces. This is the martial emperor, one of the three most powerful and terrifying powers in the world. Wu Yin Tianzuan. Li Wangxing's voice was old. "You don't have to salute. The old demon emperor's deadline has come, and this time I have to trouble the martial emperor to deal with the Shikigami again." Caroline said to him very respectfully. Li Wangxing nodded gently and said in a calm voice, "Heaven and earth are not benevolent, and treat all things as straw dogs. My Taoist thought should follow the will of heaven, be quiet, do nothing, and not fight with heaven. However, he is neither heaven nor earth. He wants to act on behalf of heaven and earth, which is against the way of nature. I can't sit idly by." "Thank you, Emperor Wu." Everyone shouted in unison. Fang Qingyan looked at Li Wangxing, and suddenly felt unprecedented intimacy and familiarity when listening to what he said. He couldn't help but have some thoughts in his mind. The hundreds of races in this world were created by the Creator, so the question is, why did the Creator also involve Eastern culture and Taoist thought? Among the hundreds of races, only the human race has a strong Oriental flavor. When he created the hundreds of races, did he use something as a template? For example, does the God realm where he is also have hundreds of races? But soon Fang Qingyan put aside the distracting thoughts in his heart. "Okay, Lucifer." The old demon king's voice was old and hoarse. "Congratulations, you have become a saint." In front of him, Lucifer was surging with a powerful aura of the holy realm. The old demon king used his last remaining strength to help him break through this realm. "Well, this king will not waste the power you give me." Lucifer raised his chin slightly and said proudly, "No matter which miscellaneous cultivator wants to kill you, one day, this king will let him go down to be buried with you." He is the sin of pride among the 7 deadly sins. After arriving in the holy realm, the soul becomes holy, the mind is complete, and the extreme personality when he was a demon king will return to normal. But Lucifer is still arrogant, which means that this guy did not become arrogant after becoming a demon king. He has always been arrogant.